I didn't want to touch this topic, but watching the Stefon Diggs case unfold reminded me of why so many men reject slogans like believe all women. And before people start emotionally shadowboxing in my comments against something I never said, listen carefully to what I'm actually saying instead of what social media trains you to hear. You do know rejecting blind belief is not the same as dismissing real victims, right? That's the first manipulation with the way a lot of you are framing it. You see, modern discourse has created this false binary where if a man says, let's wait for evidence, a lot of you act like he personally declared war on women. When in reality, some people just still believe all accusations should be investigated instead of just outright believed. You see, the second those allegations surfaced against them, social media instantly transformed into a courtroom where a bunch of y'all already convicted them before the process even played itself out. You see, that's the environment we live in right now, where accusations become headlines, that headline then becomes a narrative, and then that narrative, to a lot of you, becomes a conviction. And then by the time the facts actually start getting examined, most of you are no longer searching for the truth at all. You're emotionally invested in being right. And then once that testimony gets challenged, once that evidence gets examined, once the contradictions appear, and Stefon Diggs was found not guilty. Now watch the pattern. The same people screaming the loudest suddenly become invisible. I'm talking about no apology, no viral accountability campaign. Hell, they don't even reflect on rushing to conclusions the way that they do. And we all know on social media, outrage culture profits from accusations and not corrections. And that imbalance right there is exactly why many men reject the phrase, believe all women. And it's not because men think all women lie. It's not even because men hate women. It's simply because automatic belief destroys the foundation of due process. And mind you, this is coming from a man with 4 sons and 2 daughters. So I can see both sides of the danger real fucking clear. Because I would hate for one of my sons to have his life destroyed by a false accusation nobody properly examined. And at the same time, I would also hate if something genuinely happened to one of my daughters and nobody believed her because of the fucked up system y'all are creating. That's why balance over here, why I don't pick sides, balance matters over here. The answer can't be believe every accusation automatically. And the answer also can't be dismiss every accusation automatically. The solution is you take accusations seriously, you investigate them thoroughly, you examine the evidence honestly, and then you follow the fucking facts consistently. Something most of you refuse to do. Because I don't know if anybody told you this or not. You know the truth doesn't have a gender, right? And the real issue underneath all of this is the selective standards a lot of you have. Because when a man is accused, some people immediately say, believe her. Why would she lie? Silence is violence. But then if that man defends himself or the evidence destroys your accusation, suddenly those same people transform into scholars of nuance. Well, let's slow down. There's 2 sides. We need context. Very interesting. Skepticism magically appeared only after the damage is already done, right? That's what men notice and y'all overlook. And then to you pandering ass men specifically, I'ma need y'all to stop confusing your blind agreement with being an ally to women. Because a lot of y'all dudes aren't principled, you're socially terrified. You think automatically siding with every accusation against a man makes you morally superior, safer, more evolved. No, nigga, all you doing is helping normalize a culture where allegations alone can execute a person before evidence is examined. You think you being compassionate to these women? No, nigga, you being a fucking coward wearing a progressive Halloween costume. Because let me flip the standard real quick to see how consistent you are. Imagine if a woman was accused of abusing a child, manipulating finances, emotionally terrorizing somebody. Would you sane people scream believe every accusation immediately? Or would nuance suddenly rise from the dead like a horror movie villain with unfinished business? Or take your time, I'm waiting for your answer. Because now suddenly you want evidence now, right? Context, patience, fairness. So my question is this. Why do some of your standards change depending on who society emotionally sympathizes with? Because that's the bigger problem. This selective morality that a lot of you have. You see, a woman's fears get centered immediately. But a man's reputation, nah, that get treated like disposable collateral damage. His career's damaged, family strained, mental health wrecked, public image is poisoned, and all of this is before guilt is even established. Then when the accusation falls apart later, all y'all do is shrug and say, well, at least we took it seriously. Just imagine telling somebody, yeah, we almost destroyed your life publicly for nothing, but our intentions felt compassionate. That is fucking insanity. And another uncomfortable truth that a lot of you avoid, you do know false accusations hurt real victims too, right? I mean, every fabricated story destroys trust. Every weaponized accusation creates skepticism towards legitimate claims. And then every proven lie poisons credibility for people actually suffering. So when women knowingly lie like this to destroy another person through accusations, that ain't harmless drama, you know that? That's character assassination using public emotion, media narratives, and the legal system as a weapon. And yes, for women who do that, there should absolutely be consequences for that. Not because women should be silent, not because men are always innocent. I never make that argument. But because accountability can't only exist in one direction if justice is what you're looking for. It can't go in one direction. It got to go both ways. You see, I reject both of those extremes. I reject people who automatically dismiss every accusation, and I reject people who automatically convict people before the evidence is examined too. You test the claims, you examine the receipts, and then you wait for the facts because the truth doesn't need protection from questions, in case you didn't know that. And that's the real danger with this case. You see, once society replaces evidence with this emotional tribalism that a lot of y'all give into, you know real justice becomes a performance art, right? I mean, if the accusation only benefits one side, skepticism disappears. But if that accusation threatens your side, oh, now nuance is suddenly sacred now, right? And that inconsistency is exactly why trust keeps collapsing. Because people are starting to realize that many of these conversations no longer operate on principle. They're operating on emotional favoritism. That's why I'll never bow to mob logic, I'll never worship outrage, and I'm never going to treat anybody's feelings as facts. I'm going to need you to bring your evidence, be consistent, and show your receipts. You see, the truth isn't afraid of being examined. And if your standards only apply in one direction, those aren't standards, those are weapons. You see, at the end of the day, this is bigger than Stefon Diggs. Because one day it could be your son being accused. One day it could be your daughter needing actual justice. And one day it could be you watching the public choose a narrative over the facts in real time. In any society that replaces facts with emotional mobs, you eventually create a system where nobody is truly safe from accusations or the selective justice y'all like to apply. Not my sons, not my daughters, and not yours either. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace.